Joe is back from Tejas.
Sí, señor.
How was
I'm.
the adventures?
It was good, man. I mean, I hadn't been to that city, and I always hate this. My standard thing is decades of experience, but decades of history too, and it's been a while. And I want to say 20 years, maybe,
Wow.
um, if not more. But when I went there last, there were no tall buildings. And now it's just
Oh,
amazing how much that city's developed. I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. Had a good time.
it's a great
Um,
city. I haven't been there probably
it
in about
is.
10 years, but I always had a good time there.
Well, you know what? When I was talking to everybody, kind of the standard crew, um, particularly New York folk, when Consensus was in Manhattan at that Hilton all those years, which was the last time I went, um, pre-pandemic, what I realized was that you were all packed in on that one floor at the Hilton, and narrow hallways to go down, and it just was, you were really packed in. And the Austin Convention Center is really nice. I mean,
Oh,
it's
cool.
obviously huge, but just right in the middle of downtown. You walk out of there, like, I think I was having meetings with some exchanges over at the JW Marriott, and it's like a 2-minute walk,
Right.
and it's fresh air. It wasn't hot, although we did get one big hailstorm, but that's just Texas.
Yeah.
But yeah, great city, man. I see why they've moved it down there, and I know that permissionless is there in the fall, I think September timeframe. But I encourage everyone to go. If you I mean, obviously New York City is always a lot of fun too,
Oh,
but
of course.
this is a cool location.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love Austin. Good food, lots of good local music. It's a good place to hang out.
So the new protocols that I, not new, but the ones that I spent time with there, Casper, another chain, Swiss based, non EVM, enterprise focused, really interesting, been around for a while. Horizon Labs met their CEO, super smart guy. Um, Another one that was kind of new, Redeem, guys, Toby Rush out of Kansas City. The ability to trade crypto, send crypto with just a phone number,
Oh,
wallet agnostic. Yeah,
that's
Redeem.
interesting.
Just look, super cool. Then I talked to some exchanges. Who else was there? Right. I mean, it turns into a big blur, but there's another 4 or 5 I'll remember as the show goes on. But
Nice.
um, definitely always a fun time doing that. It's a sprint, of course, and you're all burnt out afterwards from the happy hours. But I think I just laid in a coma yesterday all day after getting back. But just again, you get out there and all the doom and gloom, and then you see all the stuff that's been built or is being built,
Right.
and you're just like, man, I don't know what everybody's talking about. you know, it just seems like it's just on the finance side or the token side, let's say, or the lack of new money side. But in the tech stack side and product side, there's a lot of cool stuff being done still.
Oh, that's
So
great to hear, man. Well, look, I mean, I think we always kind of feel like that, and we're kind of like, "What the fuck?" Everybody's in a panic, but look at all this building going on and all this cool shit going on. So it's called Redeem, unlocking Web3 for the world by binding your phone number to Web3 wallets. Okay, that sounds really fascinating. So there's no
yeah.
custody or anything. They're just having some kind of gateway to it.
Well, he's
Here, I'll
coming
look
in
at
for
it and see.
interviews soon, so you'll be able to
Awesome.
ask an hour's worth of questions.
Let me
Uh,
share a screen because I've got their site loaded up.
but what I loved is that these guys are in the American Midwest, Kansas City, and I always have you just don't see lots of tech HQ'd in St. Louis or Kansas City or places like that. And
Right.
so whenever I see those, I'm always interested because look, I mean, to get a 2-bedroom ranch in my neighborhood is about $1.3 million. To get
Right.
a friggin' 20-bedroom Midwest McMansion out there is like 600,000.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
I mean, you can live large if you can deal with winter. I'm a bit of a
Right.
P asterisk asterisk SY on that front, but great barbecue. So we were talking about that. I said, I was driving through Kansas City during pandemic with my daughter. We were heading out to Colorado, and I always hit all the barbecue places in all these towns. And, because they were all the stop where somewhere in history, it was where the people out west drove their cattle to, and it got processed and shipped off to the big cities in the east to feed everybody. It was
Right.
Chicago first, and then it moved more west as, settlement happened or whatever. And, all of these towns had that. So, I mean, whether it's Omaha or Kansas City or, any of them, and there's always tons of barbecue. And if you're into barbecue, these are the best places in the world. So anyhow, sorry, I'm selling Kansas City instead of Kobe and Redeem.
No, Kansas City's amazing too. I've spent some time there. I have some friends that were originally from there. So I went there for a wedding once, actually. I had a nice time. So that's awesome. All right. Let's see. What's the market doing today? Down a little bit. I saw earlier. What do we got? 28,214 for Bitcoin, 1833 for Ethereum. So Bitcoin's down 5.5%, Ethereum's down 5.11%, but we kind of been through that. Well, so.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't feel, again, I do feel like that there's something looming, but I mean, if it does happen, we all know it's a deep V. So it doesn't really, it's a non-event in my book right now. I mean, unless you're taking trading profits, which you guys know I do that. But anything core big, I'm not too worried right now. I just kind of want it to happen so that we can start off on the next March, March upward. But I don't know timing. That's what everybody asks me. They're all like watching Sean's episode on Thursday, and they're all like, "But when?" And I'm like, sometime. It's like that's the thing we don't know, man. We could turn Sean into a trillionaire if he could tell us when.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be nice. But we can't. So that's life.
We can't.
Chuck said, if you can deal with winter, more like if you can deal with their politicians.
Yeah, I agree with, it is tough, but remember, isn't that the state that voted pro-choice like 6 months ago?
Kansas itself voted voted to ratify pro-choice. Absolutely.
So, so I mean, that's what's interesting is that, I mean, again, it's people power. We all see how it works. Unfortunately, it gets manipulated a lot with social, but
it's starting to look like this generation, this youth generation, is actually going to be the most engaged in 100 years. So it's going to be real interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
When is the only question that matters. Everything else is masturbation, says Niblets.
Yeah, I know. We're all waiting for that, but none of us know. So
yeah. DefiLlama launched a couple of new things last week. So they have a new section for NFT marketplaces. Shows you kind of what's going on with each one. Blur is dominating in volume over the last 7 days at least, and the last 24 hours. They are down, though, 36.38%, whereas OpenSea is also down, but 24.88%. For some reason, LooksRare is having a little surge in growth, but I really like this. Really cool to see. And you can also obviously see the overall drop-off in NFT volume here is pretty significant, but it's a pretty chart.
Yeah, it does look pretty.
They also launched a section that shows major projects, expenses, and headcount, which I thought was really interesting. I'd love to see. Be really cool if we started like putting social pressure on all projects to detail this shit, So anyway, MakerDAO, 97 people on the team. Annual expenses of $26.45 million. Average cost FTE is $272,714. Aave, they don't have the headcount, but 19.2 million in expenses. Lido has 83 people working with 16 million in expenses. Sushi only has 15 people on staff with 5.2 million in annual expenses. And then Olympus DAO, 31 people, $3 million in expenses. Beefy, 16 people, 1.8 million in expenses. So really interesting to see. I hope we start seeing a lot more of this disclosed. It'd be cool if there was like a standard on-chain way that they disclosed this shit and tagged transactions that were like payments to people, whatever. So all the expenses kind of rolled in so everybody could see it, because, you know, we talk about this all the time, that we're starting to get more into the fundamentals game. So it's interesting. We'll see. Shizzy said, no crash, no deep V. The bottom is in. You missed it. Sean said, yawn. I assume.
Yeah, I love these two going at it everywhere, man, in a fun spirited way, which is cool.
Yeah, and speaking of them going at each other and having good discussions, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Join our Telegram channel where these guys participate along with a bunch of other folks. T.me/mission DeFi. T.me/mission DeFi. That is where, you know, there's a lot of cool shit going on. The Market Chip Maker channel, Sean and Michael are discussing a lot back and forth on kind of strategies and how they're doing things. Sean also posted about one of his algos having a bit of a dump over the last 24 hours, I believe. And so just some really interesting topics and conversations, channels for Bitcoin, channels for degens. We also have, what's the other one I launched last week? Airdrops. And for those of you scraping the bottom of the barrel and need to stack some tokens, that's a good place to go as well. So anyway,
absolutely.
Niblet said, is or was at Shizzy. Oh, he said the bottom is in. You missed it. And Niblets is asking if that was an is or a was. And Sean said, laugh about the PI, laughing out loud about the PA, not Shizzy.
His yawn thing. One thing about Shizzy, he doesn't get a yawn, that's for sure.
No, this is exciting.
Yes.
So then I went down a little track in the raises page at DefiLlama, and so I loaded up some projects. But first, Joe, is there anything else you want to bring up before we dive into some of this stuff here?
About DefiLlama?
No,
or in general?
Just in general. I'm gonna like suck the oxygen out here with all these loads.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, there was another group that I met, and I forgot about them. I talked about Horizon. They were actually big in the Bored Ape launch thing, and got a ton of those at the beginning. I don't want to share the because I think it was off the record, but you know, it's a big number.
Nice.
And then also another group that just got funding in February that I met out there called Hash Note.
Hash Note.
Hash Note. Definitely worth taking a look at. Some guys out of institutional finance that are setting up a DeFi platform for institutional. And, you know, it's obviously a fully KYC guardrailed system, but definitely interesting, you know, me and the institutional stuff. And then one other one, never met with the Maple guys, but we're going to talk this week. And then there's another group called Maverick. They've got the show booking links. They're coming on too. And they're basically have this really interesting way where you can kind of set direction on price within a DEX liquidity pool. Pretty hard for me to just explain right here. I'd recommend everybody look at it, and they're going to be on the shows as well. But Maverick met with one of their founders, got the technical guy coming in, you know, for the show, but just a really amazing platform to kind of deal with impermanent loss in a different way. So just another tool, but we're looking at. So before I want to get those out there, and they'll all be on the shows in the future, but definitely ones that look real super positive.
All right. Well, Joe, do you remember when a few months ago when everybody was talking about when Canto and Berachain were no, this is not them, were hyping it up, right? So Berachain is that other layer one. Everybody was hyping and talking about the fact that they both had this big decentralized ethos, and Berachain did all this like mystery gamified prepare for launch and everything. Berachain raised $42 million from a bunch of VCs, which I found really interesting. And you know, I made a little jab because the whole thing about their brand and their model at the beginning was that they were going to be this completely decentralized, you know, just like Canto, trying to be decentralized and not have influence of other people. but now they've suddenly raised $42 million. So I gave them a little dig over the weekend. I said, the only thing you need to know about the difference between Berachain and Canto Public is that Canto didn't need to raise $42 million, and yet VCs are still buying Canto. So, I just find it interesting that you launch your brand, you suck all these people in with this kind of model and ethos of we're going to be decentralized. And I don't have a problem with a layer one raising venture capital. So I want to make that clear. I don't have a problem with it. But when you build your brand as supposedly this awesome decentralized thing, and you've launched and people are piling in and everything's happening, and then suddenly you raise 42 million in VC, I think it kind of calls into question about how deep the ethos is there, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, did they, because I met some of the VCs that did, I don't know if I'm supposed to say the names or not, that were in Canto. And I never really asked them enough about their structure, but
no, so there were no VCs in Canto at the beginning. They came in and bought tokens on the market, not from the project. So they didn't OTC it? Nope. Straight.
So they just come in and took spot. Oh, wow. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. After they did that full analysis, and they announced that they were buying and everything else. And after they did that full analysis and published it, they went, or maybe they did the token buys before, probably was smart. But they went in and bought up some quantity. And so, that to me says, look, they're coming in because they think this thing has legs and people are excited and energized about it. And, I'm not seeing anything slow down. Just so you know, and anybody that's interested, I've joined they created a biz dev group. It's the ecosystem development group, Canto ecosystem development group. There's a Telegram channel for it. I'll put it in the show notes. But essentially the idea is they've formed all of these clusters working on different problems, from technology to tokenomics to liquidity to growth and marketing to biz dev, news and information distribution. There's all these clusters being formed that are, self-reliant. They're not getting funded or anything from the main Canto contributor group, but they're out there building and doing and creating. And the enthusiasm on the biz dev side it's pretty cool to see. And a lot of projects are coming on board to help out with it as well. So anyway, I love what I'm seeing in Canto, and I just it's a good bet. I mean, look, the great people. I mean, I don't know them like you do, but from what I see, if you're going to take a bet somewhere and ride out some liquidity pools, I don't see how you find, arguably it's one of the top ones to do for that in my mind. Yeah. And that's what I've been doing too, picking. I mean, you guys all know the protocols I've picked, but it's more of pick the ones that you like, that you think could possibly go somewhere, put your money down and then ride it out. Yeah. And so to me, that's what I always liked about Canto. Now I'm a very minor holder there, but I like the concept, and you've got to expect everybody else is going to be trying to copy it too. Absolutely.
But it's unique. I was telling you, it's kind of like the, different play. Like, we had the CoreDAO guys on, a few months ago, and, we didn't get any tokens for that or anything, everybody, just so you know. But
why didn't we, Joe? Where's my time?
I know. I'm saying I did learn a new trick. I'm going to tell it to you once we get off the show. But okay. There's another thing out there I just learned about from one of our next guests. But
good.
Yeah, you can enjoy it. It's pretty clever. But yeah, they did it. They announced CoreDAO announced a $200 million ecosystem fund last Tuesday, and they put up $100 million, and two other groups are in there with $50 million each. Wow. So this is what's going to fund their deals. So
that's a nice chunk of cash.
Yeah, and so I'm tight with those guys. I mean, not like we're all best buddies, but I'm saying I do see them at shows and we talk and message and everything. So if anybody wants to explore that ecosystem and potentially landing a project on there, message me and do it in Telegram, because I never seem to get to Twitter these days. Pathfinder 305, and I'm happy to make the intros. Nice.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad to see they're surging forward with good moves. That's really smart.
Yeah, it's different than, like, say, Canto, obviously, but it covers like a lot of the third world markets that we don't really get to often, and that's what I'm kind of intrigued by, to see how they play out there. Canto's obviously playing it a different game in that, it's the public infrastructure, purely decentralized play, which
Yep.
is different from anything else out there in my mind.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but still what you see is there's progress in all these chains, which is good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hold on one second. Oh, my daughter's texting me that she got an A on her Chinese test.
Yeah. Tell them hen
Excellent.
how, hen how, hen how.
That's good shit.
That's my
all right. So started going through the raises and found a few interesting plays here. Oh, first I wanted to talk about this because we're a crypto show.
who's this?
This is a new meme coin, PEPE, that's up. It was up 2,000% over the weekend, I guess. I don't know. I just don't have the time or energy to try to track a fucking another meme coin, but evidently everybody's jumping the fuck into it. So,
well, let me give you guys a tip. If you're up 2,000x over the weekend, to 20x, I guess it is, 2,000% over the weekend, take some profits.
Take it all out.
If not all of it.
Well, not all, because you never know. Take your profit, break even at least, and then ride it up if you want.
Yeah, I would take half off the table if I was in there at 2,000% over in 2 days. I would at least take half off. Not advice, but why not book your friggin' 100x
exactly,
and still leave half the money on the table for the ride,
Yeah.
And then if it dips back like 50%, then buy back in.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
that's not advice, but that's what I would recommend anybody do on anything. 2,000% over the weekend, take the win, call it a day.
Yep. Anyway, they do have a roadmap. Where to go? Where did the roadmap go? It's kind of standard meme shit, but at least these guys have a plan. I don't know. Who knows though? Once you start counting the millions you made from launching one of these and it takes off, it's like a 1 in a million play. I bet it's kind of hard to motivate to fucking do the rest of the shit you said you were going to do. But with a meme coin, you can kind of like go out and say, okay, community, come into the Discord and do this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the energy to fucking track one of these and try to time it and everything else. So,
Yeah. I do. I kind of they're not meme coins, obviously, but I kind of throw the ordinal stuff in that box too. It's like there's stuff that's just going to move for no reason. And when it does, take profits.
Exactly.
And when it doesn't, get out.
Exactly.
But these are ones that I don't know where it's trading at, but you just have to really, like you said, it's hard because you have to manually stay on top of it.
Yep.
So, just if you're going to play these kind of things, you get up in the morning, it's up 25%, sell it. It's like, and go on to the next one because there's another 50 things to play like this that are going to tie into the social media marketing more than fundamentals.
Yep. Back on our talk about the VCs, Shizzy said, I'm starting to become a fair launch maxi. No admin keys, no VCs at launch gets me excited. Yeah, look, I would love to have radically decentralized and all of that for all of them, man. So I love that. And I think that's actually a smart move because if you can get momentum with a community with that kind of a launch, then you're probably in a pretty good position. So Shizzy said, PEPE is at 300 million market cap, but only 5 million in liquidity. That is scary. This thing is done. Well, maybe so, man. And Niblet says, AI Doge meme coin and Arbitrum. Sure, it's all a game of musical chairs, but it can be fun to play. Yeah, dude, I totally agree. I've definitely done my share of that DJ and meme coin shit, but I think those days are past for me. Unless I, maybe we'll launch a Joe coin for Mission DeFi, and that'll be our meme coin. Maybe something like that.
Yeah, but I think Trader Joe's might get pissed off. But I guess the store Trader Joe's might get pissed off too, and they haven't yet. So fuck it, let's do it. Joe Brad, we'll call it, or Brad Joe.
There we go. That works. Another interesting raise. This was really kind of fascinating to me. It's Web3 adjacent, but it's actually a pretty cool model for kind of explaining shit to people, which and getting NFTs in people's hands. So I didn't know this, but Animoca bought this project called TinyTap, and TinyTap is an educational for children an educational site. Their goal is to produce, high quality content. All the content's produced by teachers for, age appropriate for younger children. So they raised 8.5 million on a $100 million valuation. But this to me is what's really cool. This is a system whereby they took 12, and this was a kind of a test for them, I guess, but I think they're planning on expanding on this. So they took 12 teachers who were launching a course, and they sold what are called co-publisher NFTs for each of the courses, for each of the teachers, right? And they sold out and raised $352,000. And that $352,000 was divided up amongst the 12 teachers, okay? And then what that entitled you to as a co-publisher was you would get an NFT. And I thought it was going to be you would get an NFT and you get a piece of all the revenue for each course or whatever course you bought the NFT for. But it's not. And it's still very interesting that people dove in. You buy the NFT and now you're in an integrated Web3 system that will pay you a percentage of revenue of revenue that you drive to that course. So people that were buying the NFTs are people that may have an audience of children or parents that are already signed up for other things or whatever. And so there's a referral methodology that refers people into you, and then you get paid you get 80% of the revenue that you drive to that course, right? But I just thought the whole model was really interesting. I thought it was very interesting that they were able to get people to pay $352,000 to sponsor these teachers' courses. I like the idea of creating alternative educational systems. So I thought it was all pretty cool. And I like the idea of people being made aware of NFTs in a way like this, where it might've been people that have a Web 2 audience of parents, but they came in to buy the NFT because they figured they could drive revenue here. So anyway, thought it was just an interesting play. What did I say they raised? 8.5 million on 100 million.
328. Oh,
so that, the numbers must
that's a bit rich.
The numbers must look pretty good, right? It must be that these courses are actually doing pretty well. The investors see two things. They see the Web3 play, but they also see that it's just also a standard Web2 play, right? The kids don't have to buy NFTs to sign up and use this. And so I'm sure that they see there's also good numbers in the usability and the educational content and how often teachers and parents are using it, that kind of stuff. But I like the concept a lot. And I think it's a cool model. Get the teachers a bunch of upfront cash so they can make some money. They make continuing ongoing revenue from everything comes in. Bring in partners who are buying NFTs who also have a stake in it, and they get paid if they drive customers to it. So I like the model. I thought it was really interesting. So. Yeah,
I mean, I was sort of looking at something else at the same time, so apologies if I'm redundant, but were the NFTs are being used to pre-book like the content from the teachers or to finance the whole operation?
No, the NFTs the NFT revenue goes to the teachers to pay for them creating the content.
Okay, so who put in the money at a pre-money, or you said somebody totally put separate, in how much money?
Totally separate. Okay. Things. So the company TinyTap raised 8.5 million on 100 million valuation. So that's a bunch of VCs. But the model is for
let's get that list of VCs, because those are the ones we want to target, because that's absurd. So it's like, find out who those VCs are, because I need to meet them.
Exactly. But
cool though. I do like the model though. I do like it. The
model is really cool. I think it makes just a ton of sense. They're going to have a token with governance model built in. They're going to create more games for publishers. So this looks like a really smart strategy, a cool idea, a great way to kind of integrate Web3 without making everything Web3 and then slowly onboard people into it. So, I'm impressed. I like it.
Absolutely. I was just on Shizzy's AI Doge comment. I just thought I'd let everybody know that it appears to be 210 quadrillion in the token pool. And I know Shizzy loves those, big token floats. So if it gets to $1, it's worth $210 quadrillion.
That's funny as hell.
Now there is a liquidity pool on Camelot though that looks to be paying out about, not Nitro, but looks to be paying out about 300% on AI Doge in ETH. So
all right. Well, okay, that's interesting. Let me go back to some raises. This one was kind of interesting. It's a CRM system, raised $2.5 million seed round. It's called Meta something. Where is it? Meta CRM. But it's solely focused on Web3. And so it's a survey tool and a desk, managed communications tool, data dashboard, analytics dashboard, so everybody can see kind of what's going on with the business. I don't know if the actual product is on chain, but I do like the model of targeting kind of the back office marketing and CRM functionality that every project desperately needs, and doesn't require, and it pulls on-chain data for the analytics, that kind of stuff. And it doesn't require you to have 12 different tools, which almost every project has now. So this one's pretty interesting to me. Again, I don't know if the actual system lives in Web3 or not, and they don't make any point of saying it does. So I would suspect it does not, but interesting anyway.
Very cool. Hey, one more now. These nuggets just keep surfacing as we're talking, but I also saw our friends at Consensus, Lacey and Brad from Meta Intro.
Oh, good.
They were there. So I got a chance to hang out with them a bit, and they're doing great. They asked about you, said you're doing well. And we were trading some different war stories. And they're not going to be here for BTC Miami. They were here for NFT Miami and kind of missed them on that. But still, they're doing well, super friendly. And just, anytime you're at shows like that, and you see these guys, audience, go up and say hi. Lacey and Brad.
Tell them you saw us. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Here's another one that did a seed round, Aki Network or Aki Network. I'm not sure what it is. Why won't this open?
I saw last week that, 118 million in funding went into startups, to, Web3 crypto type startups last week. Awesome. So there is money too going on.
Definitely is money. Yeah. Look, so they got a valuation of $40 million. I don't know what the raise was, and I couldn't find it earlier when I was looking for the amount. But this is also kind of one of those platforms, but this one is actually Web3, I believe, centric. This is a platform for both influencers and projects in Web3 to connect up and improve their standing if they're an influencer, hire and utilize influencers if you are a project. So it's actually a pretty cool system. The way it functions, they have all this amazing data on influencers in the space. They can tell you, where their reach is, how they reach, what they're involved with, what topics they're involved with. So this would be a pretty cool system. And I don't know how they charge, but this would be a pretty cool system if you're a project and you want to work with some influencers. This could be an interesting way to do it. So anyway, they raised, what did I say? Oh, we don't know how much they raised. They had a $40 million valuation.
Yeah, again, let's find out who the VCs are on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know what I say when I was a VC. I know the numbers I was talking about, and they were nowhere near. Unless I was on the sell side, and I was selling it to another VC, they were nowhere near those numbers, at the beginning.
Absolutely. No, I get it. Totally get it. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Oh, I'm cleaning up my mess here. Close that. Oh, we talked about Meta. We talked about TinyTap. So the news is supposedly in this article is saying that there's a lot more flowing into Ethereum in terms of staking. But when I looked at the dashboard today, the net inflow is 441,431 ETH, negative inflow. But evidently, I don't know if there's just been a surge, and that's all still remaining from Kraken and Coinbase or whoever this is, Binance getting out. But the article is claiming that there's been a surge of inflows in recent week. You're looking at, I don't know, what is that? Like 30,000 ETH coming in the last week. But nice. Just just interesting to see. They're basically claiming that overall the trend is to positive inflows on staking. So glad to see that if that's the case, but I haven't looked in their data to confirm it. Oh, this was interesting. Hongkong's regulator is requiring banks to open accounts for crypto firms. Like
nice.
Requiring that they bank crypto. So, you know, I'm starting to think, wow, I still wouldn't have a business there myself, but I had a conversation the other day with a really large Chinese company that just opened operations for a centralized exchange they're launching in Hong Kong. And they have a sizable budget, and they're enthusiastically diving in to taking advantage of this Hong Kong regulatory allowances. And then I saw this saying that they're actually going to require them to bank these people. So, you know, it's
well, yeah, look, I'll add something to that. And it was something I wanted to say. I just forgot about it. But, you know, when I was meeting with a lot of the Asian exchanges there, when I was at Consensus,
yeah,
and, you know, I'm walking up to a meeting up on, you know, one of the floors of a hotel. And I come in, I look to the right, and it's all Chinese people. I look to the left, it's all Texans, basically, with, you know, name stickers on their thing. Another group. Yeah. And it was like literally all gringos on one side, all Chinese on the other. So, of course, I was there for the meeting with the Chinese guys. Right. And so they're all looking at me, seeing which way I'm going. And I take the other turn and head over to, you know, the China team. But what I'm getting at is, I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but I felt like half the people there were Chinese.
Wow.
Okay. And I'm not saying this in a racist way or any stupid way. I'm just saying it in a way that, you know, I don't know if they ever left, but if they did and they're back, I'm like, welcome back, because there's a ton of people getting ready to pour in, and these are all pretty much Hong Kong. And so I'm showing the list, they're showing me listing requirements, and the biggest criterion they have to keep people out is any ties to mainland China. So I think they're really, you know, or too many investors from mainland China. I think that's what they're really more afraid of than anything. Right. But Hong Kong itself, yeah, I think it's getting ready to explode, dude.
That's it.
Because, you know, it was not like there was no shortage of Chinese people there. And which to me I like, because that tells me we're getting ready to, you know, put that back on the,
let's do it,
you know, in the fast lane over there, which will help all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Niblet says Singapore better get on its game. Go Singapore. Although he said Sing better get on its game. Go Sing. I'm assuming.
Well, also, yeah, he's in Singapore. Also, don't forget Thailand's coming into the game. They fully legalized crypto, so Dubai, you're going to see a lot of
heating up as well. Yeah. So, well,
that's where a lot of these exchanges that I thought were Hong Kong exchanges are actually HQ'd and staffed in Dubai. So, you know, they're kind of hedging themselves too, or protecting themselves. Right. But, you know, there was definitely a lot of action getting ready to go down from our Asian friends.
That's great. That's great. I'm excited. That can boost us everything quite a bit. So I love that. Niblet says Chinese currency controls are a huge threat to any Hong Kong economic surge in DeFi. Yeah, look, I would be nervous as hell about doing anything there just because the plug can get pulled anytime they want. But I'm pretty impressed with the amount of aping into Hong Kong is going on. So anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, no, I think that, you know, to Shizzy's comment, you know, China, well, I mean, look, any authoritarian, first I'll say the Niblets, you know, look, any authoritarian government, and they are, you know, look, they have elections, but it is, you know, pretty much run by the military and the royal family. You're going to get that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, Singapore is the cleanest reputation, but you know the thing with Thailand, even it's not like they're shaking you down for money.
Right.
Whatever like alleged stuff is going on, it's behind the scenes stuff, and that's in the Gulf Coast countries. That's in China. That's just about everywhere.
Right.
So I'm like, who gets anointed to have the deal? So I'm not too worried about it in that regard. What I do like is kind of they stay in the middle of everybody, Thailand.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, they, you know, they don't, I mean, who thinks of, oh, wow, Thailand, what a bunch of assholes. I mean, it's like Nobody really thinks that.
No,
It's
not
like
at
they think
all.
great beaches, spas, and
Yeah.
weed's legal now too for those that partake. Just so you know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, full legalization
That's
last.
good.
Just for everybody. I mean, it was
Yeah,
kind of always the missing piece of Thailand.
Yeah, Shizzy says China legalizes crypto in the bear so they can ban it in the bull. And Niblet said Thailand is ridiculously corrupt, but decentralization
Yeah,
might mitigate that. So
and to
that's good.
Shizzy's point with China, I think that banning of crypto a couple years ago was really, because they didn't really ban it for the rich.
Right.
I mean, if anybody thinks that the CCP members aren't stacking crypto in their ledgers, they're not thinking clearly. It was more to keep it out of the hands of the masses so that they could launch their, CBD coin, or not CBD, their central bank coin, which is a bit of a surveillance coin. So now that is either done or happening or whatever, I would expect to see crypto come rolling back out again soon in mainland China in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Because unless they're really terrified of it from a capital flight standpoint, but most of the masses aren't leaving the country with money.
Right.
It's the well-to-do that move money out. So, I mean, these are all, every country's got problems in a lot of ways. We do, all of them do. So, I kind of think about it. What are we all in it for? What are you in it for, Brad? I'm in it for the money. Okay. So
I thought it was a trick question.
No, yeah. So to me, wherever you can make the money, make the money.
Look, I'm in it for the money, and look, I also want to, change the way finance works. So, which benefits me financially. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Chuck said China did what Warren et al. Are trying to do here, setting us up for digital dollar BS. What Joe said. Sean said they did not ban crypto; they shut down mining. They don't like actual decentralized crypto. I thought they actually banned use or holding by Chinese citizens, but I could totally be wrong on that for sure. Sean said capital flight and all that. Yeah, absolutely. Niblet says CBD coin Freudian slip, Joe. I don't know what he means.
There's just so many acronyms flowing around. I don't even know what I'm saying half the time.
And Sean said the only question, Joe, is what is money? Yeah.
Well, there we go. We're going to go deep philosophical here. And knowing Sean's background, I think he's probably thinking more about the, view that, his like non-sovereign money discussion, Bitcoin is my guess.
Yeah.
And what is money, as a modicum of exchange. So yeah, that's a good point, Sean.
I thought this was really interesting. I just want to quickly touch on it because I think it's something really needed in the Bitcoin Lightning world. A company called Amboss Technologies raised $4 million in seed funding from their usual suspects, Stillmark, Valor, Draper. And they're a platform, an analytics platform that analyzes traffic on the Lightning Network to help people route payments most effectively. So that's one of the big problems on the Lightning Network is routing of the funds and the node through the nodes. So really glad to see this. The idea is they provide these analytics tools now, and they're going to then provide the ability for automating those transfers on Lightning. So, me, I want to see all facets of this world grow and blossom into truly decentralized finance. And I think that Lightning has the potential to help with that. So we'll see. Here we go. Wait a minute. Niblet says, money is my ability to get you to do stuff for me that isn't in your direct interest. Shizzy said, money is the root of all evil. That's why I like crypto Ponzi schemes. Sean said, sigh. Niblet said,
I suspect that's his last line, right? That's the Shizzy's last line. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Probably. Niblet said, USDs, gold, salt, seashells, tally sticks, whatever motivates your labor for me. Yeah, I like that.
Cod pieces.
That's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, cod pieces. Yes, absolutely. All right, last piece of news I got for today, Joe. Venmo is going from database entries for your crypto to actually giving you the ability to transfer crypto out. I assume it's still going to be like a custodied thing, and they're still putting your crypto in a database somewhere. But I like seeing them giving people the freedom to get their shit out if they want to get it out. So that's really great to see.
What I was interested with that, though, Brad, was that, because PayPal's allowed people to, I guess, buy crypto for a few years, right?
Yep. Venmo.
But you couldn't. Well, I mean, I guess PayPal owns Venmo or something, right?
Yeah,
Isn't it a
exactly.
subsidiary?
Yeah.
So it must have always been over there on the Venmo side, but you couldn't transfer it out, is what I'm
Right.
remembering.
Yeah.
You bought it and had to sit there. And I don't know if you could use it to pay stuff, like if you could pay your bill with it, if it went up in value or not. I
I
can't
think
remember.
the primary thing was you could cash it out when you wanted to, right? So
Okay.
you were speculating basically.
So it was like a spot speculation tool.
Exactly.
All right. But now with Venmo, you can actually move it off the platform, right?
Right.
See, that's what makes it really interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you think about how many, PayPal, I still have a PayPal account somewhere, but PayPal is more of an underbanked product, if I'm not mistaken. Originally it was about internet money and stuff like that.
Well, originally, it was for auctions, eBay.
Yeah. But now it's like, not many people really use PayPal for, if you've got American Express cards and stuff flying around, you're not really using PayPal much.
I think there's a lot of people still use it for like shopping carts, right?
Yeah.
So they're selling something wherever they're selling it, and they'll take payment via PayPal. That's one of the primary uses, I think. And you can transfer money to friends just like Venmo. Venmo just did a better job. That's why PayPal bought them. But this was interesting. I just saw this checkout with crypto on the PayPal website. I didn't know they had added this. It's pretty interesting. It's interesting. I had a friend of mine asking me today what I set up for my kids, right? His son wanted to buy some Doge and wanted to start, having a bank account, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And his kid just turned 13. I told him that what I did for my kids was Cash App, because you get all the banking functions, and you get the ability to buy stocks and Bitcoin. So gives them kind of a taste. You can transfer your Bitcoin in and out, and you can deposit checks, you can do direct deposit, you can go to ATMs, anything you can do in a bank account, you can do with that. And it's a quick sign up online. So I recommended that to him. The only problem is you can only get Bitcoin. As Sean would say, what problem? It's great because Cash App also is capable of connecting to Venmo. You can also send money to people with their Cash App name. So I'm a big fan of that product overall. So.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. No, I just set up joint bank accounts for my daughter, and then people just put money in those accounts for her. I didn't think about teaching her how to like do the stuff. I probably should get on that. Well, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Freaking Michael, man. I love this old man persona he's doing. This is fucking great. Late for my pickleball match. Just dropping in to see how you kids are getting along with your computer games. Sunshine is good for you kids. It's like he's a batshit crazy dude. I love it. Fucking love it.
Yeah, it is funny, man. Pickleball. Yeah, I'm glad to see so many people playing pickleball. I was kind of against it because they were always taking up all the courts around here.
Oh, yeah.
But what the hell? Who cares, man? If people want to get off their ass and get some exercise, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's really popular. So Shizzy said Venmo could be an easy off-ramp if needed. Yep, absolutely. I don't know if there are limits on amounts or not, but definitely a positive. Niblet says, I suspect Apple Bank eats PayPal's lunch in one bit. Yeah, look, I think Apple's going to do really well with that, with their Goldman Sachs partnership there.
Yeah.
Shizzy said, I got a PayPal credit card. I wonder if I can start paying it off with crypto. I'm sure there's some way to make that loop happen. I don't know.
See, that would be nice. Yeah.
And I have a PayPal debit card. I don't think I've ever used it, but I have one. Niblet said at 4.15% interest on FDIC deposit, it's hard to argue with that. Absolutely. Yeah, totally. They're going to bank up a lot of people.
Yeah, don't forget about too, Amazon Pay is in the game. And then obviously, you said Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay. There's so many payment ones out there now.
Yeah.
That one of those embraces the going crypto straight off into other things or paying other bills. It's going to be pretty hard for everybody else to not do that.
Yeah. Shizzy said, I have a Robinhood for each of my kids, 7 and 9. I add $25 a week into the coins they have, mainly ETH and Bitcoin. When they're 18, I'll give them the passwords. You should wait till wait till they're 28 to give them the passwords. But that's really cool idea, man. I really love that. I got a big stack of Doge in a wallet for my kids that I bought a couple of years ago. So
yeah, you still up?
What's that?
You still up on it?
Oh yeah.
Good.
So let's wrap it up, Joe.
Yeah, let's do it. One more thing from Sean.
Oh wait, At least they will have some Bitcoin, Shizzy, and some number of ETH with zero value. Another great life lesson. Chuck says, Robinhood, I closed my account and left 1 cent in there just to fuck with them forever. That's hilarious.
There you go.
Look, more and more, the fees that banks charge, there's just no point. It's absolutely pointless to use a regular bank. I mean, for business, yeah, but for personal consumer, especially younger people, there is literally nothing you can't do on virtual banks or these apps. So,
what was interesting? Mine doesn't. They don't charge any fees on the ones I set up for my daughter. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of a family of accounts or something. But I was looking at, remember we talked about the e-resident stuff or digital resident stuff.
Yep.
And I was looking at, not our Pacific Island nation friends, but I was looking at the Eastern European one, and I didn't really realize how many international fintechs there are where you can open up accounts just with those digital resident cards. And you never have to go into a bank branch at all.
Where's that?
So, not the one that you just got, but the kind of old school one.
Estonia.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you don't even have to, you basically can get a bank account there with that e-resident card. Not in Estonia. You got to go into an Estonian bank, but one of the fintechy ones, and they give you like the 3 or 4 to talk to, and boom, you're up and running.
That's awesome.
I mean, with yours, have you tried out your thing yet?
I have not. I haven't had time. I got to, because I want to set up I'm setting up a virtual machine inside my computer so it's always connected VPN, has no history in it, whatever. So
he's going. There you go.
No matter what, no matter how I use that account, it will never have touched, American soil. So
yeah, it'll never have touched American soil.
Yeah. Will not be soiled by the American greed.
Yeah. Hey, I did hear an interesting thing. I don't know if anybody knows this, and usually I don't like to say things that could be incorrect, but there was a lot of chatter at the conference, about your buddy Gary Gensler. And it wasn't just the Algorand money, but supposedly, I mean, maybe everybody else knows this and I'm the last one who knew it, but that, when he was a professor at, where was he? MIT? Yeah, he was at MIT. But he took $3.5 million in funding from FTX.
Oh,
did you hear about that?
I've not heard that.
Yeah, people were talking about
broken as news, though, man. That's
why I don't want to cast aspersions that are incorrect around. I mean, we know the Algorand stuff is true, but there's definitely a feeling out there in market chatter. I mean, not about that. People are saying he took the money.
Wow.
That anybody who hired him before is not getting scrutinized, and it's the people that didn't hire him that are. That might be a little too much of a reach statement, but you know what? If anybody knows anything about that FTX money and GG when he was at MIT, it would be interesting to see if we could find some backup data to confirm that.
Absolutely. That's
because I knew you would like that because I hadn't heard that before.
Oh, I would love that pressure to hit him.
I heard a lot of noise about, when SBF was working the Hill and the DC scene and all that, there was a lot of money sloshing around. But this is before that. This is when he was a professor. So technically it's, I don't think there's anything inappropriate there. But still, shouldn't you at least recuse yourself? Yeah, from
that's a little shitty, man.
If it's true. So
yeah, absolutely. Wow. Okay. I hope that's true.
Yeah, it would be interesting. But a lot of people, I don't know if it's just, institutional market chatter because it came from an institutional guy.
Sean said, was FTX even open when he was in NFT?
I have no idea.
I don't know. When did FTX open? When did FTX launch?
Well, it would take at least a couple of years to put together a Ponzi scheme that good, right?
Have you been in DeFi long?
Exactly. Oh, hey, I'm coming in with a bunch.
Founded in 2019.
Well, then I don't know if Gensler was still at MIT then.
Let me see. Wikipedia to the rescue.
Well, it looks like he got nominated to the chair of the SEC in 21-ish.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when Biden came in.
Oh yeah, so that was February 3rd, 2021. Nominated to serve, confirmed April 21. So yeah, I guess it was
He
right
won
at the beginning.
He was at this is interesting. He was at MIT up through the end of 2019 academic year because he won the MIT Sloan Outstanding Teacher Award. So
Really?
Since he was also friends with Sam's parents, and he was the crypto guy at MIT, that's interesting.
Yeah, something to look at.
We have no proof of this. We have no knowledge. This is just rumors.
Yeah, this is what I call market chatter. But when enough people say it that aren't related to each other, it's worth exploring.
Yeah,
because that's just, but there's got to be something there, or you would have thought somebody else would have been all over this by now. You would have thought that the House Republicans would have been, that are gunning for him, would have tied it all together when they were all talking about how much money that SBF was sloshing around DC to politicians. And so, I know everybody took it, but I would be thinking if I was a House Republican and I was new and hadn't taken it, I'd be trying to find everybody who did take it and go after them. So I'm surprised nobody said this.
Yeah, me too. Niblet says could be Alameda, not FTX. Shizzy said, I think it was Jane Street, SBF's previous company. Yeah, he just worked at Jane Street though. So I don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
And then Sean said, I think it's the usual crypto media BS. Very likely could be. So
yeah, it could be that. But these weren't media people, just so you know.
Yeah.
These were CEOs.
Scuttlebutt.
Yeah, protocols. They were like, did you hear this?
Yeah.
And I heard it twice. So unless it's a coordinated effort, he's got no friends lost.
No, absolutely not, dude.
All right, dude. I'm sorry. I'm the one who kept us over.
Oh, that's quite all right. Oh, shit. I got to go.
All right, buddy.
Glad you said that. Hey, thank you, Shizzy, Niblets, Chuck, Michael. Am I missing anybody, Joe?
We got all the usuals.
Sean.
Niblets, Shizzy,
thank you for helping
Michael.
out. We love and appreciate you guys. If you're watching on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please rate and review us and leave a little review. It would be a great help to us, and we hope you're enjoying the content. That's all we ask in return. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, please click the thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed and click the little bell so you get notified of new episodes. We'll be back tomorrow, folks. Everybody, blah, blah, blah. Hope everyone has a great day.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, everybody have a good time. Something else going on. I can't remember it. Oh yeah, look at the Camelot exchange pools. There's some good ones in there. And we will see everyone tomorrow.
Okay, buddy. Have a good one. See you.
Cheers.